I want to talk to you about this and give you some of the 7 biggest revelations of the book, and talk to my friend Tara Palmeri. One of those revelations, before we get to Tara, is abuse by her father is revealed, trafficking and fear of becoming a sex slave, allegations involving Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, gag order timed with the Platinum Jubilee, suicide attempts and mental health struggles she talks about, exclusion from Maxwell's trial due to too many names, and public smear, class prejudice, and a royal supporters attack. Okay, so Tara Palmeri is a veteran journalist, the author of The Red Letter on Substack, and the host of the Tara Palmeri's show here on YouTube. Did I get it all, Tara?
I think you forgot friend, dog mother,
a very good friend and a huge supporter of mine, and I'm a huge supporter of hers. And I'm also a big, huge fan and support and admirer of your work, Tara. Great work here.
I feel the same way about you. I've been so amazed at seeing you on the ground in the middle of every major story and just like nailing it. It's been amazing.
Thank you so much. You as well. So let's talk about this, because this is your thing. You own this story. So you do. And I mean that in a good way. So then give me your initial takeaways, and we'll talk of some of the things. How is this going to have any impact on any of this?
I feel like it does. I mean, I hope that this story keeps the Epstein story alive, because it tells it in the most human way possible. It is so hard to break through the porn of the story, the wealth porn, the spy porn, the porn, and to actually paint a picture of a victim and what it was like to be trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein, to be controlled by him, and how this could happen, and how they preyed on the most vulnerable. And I think the fact that she starts with the story of her father and being molested by him, it helps people understand how Ghislaine Maxwell sought out girls who were broken, and how dark and insidious that is, and how she can never be pardoned. I mean, she can be technically, but I think if you read Virginia's book, you'll see the humanity in it. I mean, Don, she talks about loving Jeffrey Epstein, wanting his love badly. It shows you the complexity of sexual assault, of sexual abuse, of a lifetime of it, of cycles of abuse, the trauma, the confusion, why people who are assaulted don't go to the police right away. They're not the perfect victims. And it shows the humanity of Virginia. She's no longer the teen liar, the teen prostitute and liar. It shows her for who she is. And she's an incredibly vulnerable, warm, hopeful, loving person. And she actually wrote in her book about our journey together and what it was like for her. And, you know, it was hard to read it because I felt what it felt like for her being there. But, you know, I just want to pull one part of it. Because we went back and tried to find people who could corroborate her story of abuse. And she writes about tracking down this celebrity chef, Adam Perry Lang.
What page is this in? What chapter, and what's it about?
It's Unbroken is the chapter. It's page 315, and it's about our journey together trying to find people to corroborate her story. And she said, "You may be wondering what I wanted from Lang. Of course, I hope that he might have information that could help me hold Epstein's co-conspirators accountable. But also on a purely emotional level, I just wanted to hear Lang confirm my experience. He could have said something as simple as, 'I see what happened to you because I was there,' and that would have helped me heal. Would I have been thrilled if he had handed over incontrovertible evidence of wrongdoing? Sure. But I wasn't really expecting that. Mostly what I wanted was validation. Clearly, though, I wasn't going to get that from Lang. That's all she wanted.
Validation.
Yeah, validation.
She's
Now
telling the
people
truth and that she's human, right? And yeah.
exactly. And I think like and the story it keeps going and you know we we see the house manager and he does let us into the house and they recall these experiences, but he's just very withholding and it's a really brutal story. It's really hard to read it, especially I think for everybody, people will be in shock to read this story. I always wondered if she could really write a memoir because her story is so dark. And in the best, they say the best memoirs you can see yourself in them. But
Hmm.
in Virginia's story, in a story arc, you always expect there's a light at the end of the tunnel, right? Like something
Hmm.
gets better, it gets better. There's somewhere, and there aren't a lot of moments where things get better.
It didn't
Um,
get better for her.
yeah, it really didn't. And
Can I ask you something? You said now, I wanted to let you go on because I want to just continue to talk to you about it. And there's no structure here, right? But you said that Ghislaine, and people in New York call her Ghislaine, right? People in the press say Ghislaine, but New Yorkers call her Ghislaine. That's people who know her, right? Right.
yeah, Virginia
Um,
calls her Ghislaine. She says it in
Ghislaine,
the
yeah,
book. She's like, "It's Ghislaine."
it's
Uh,
Ghislaine, yeah.
yeah.
So you said that Ghislaine Maxwell should never be pardoned. She doesn't deserve to be pardoned. Does she even deserve being moved to a minimum facility place that's basically like a Club Med for prisons?
No, and I
And
think
why?
exactly why. Well, we know why because clearly she talked the talk that the president wanted. But I think if you read this book, which is so special because, like I said, we never hear from the victims, right? They never have their say. They're never the important part of the story. You'll just see how she truly went after the vulnerable. She really did, and how vulnerable Virginia Giuffre was, and how Virginia was trying to turn her life around after being homeless and trafficked.
Hmm.
Um, Only to have someone who saw that she was reading a book about how to be a masseuse and saying, "I'll give you a job as a traveling masseuse. I'll teach you how to do what you want." And it's like she even writes about like looking for seashells with Glenn and how those were tender moments for her and how one man that Jeffrey trafficked her to offered her more money to live with him and be trafficked to him, and
What do
she
you
turned
mean
it
by being
down.
trafficked to him? For them basically to sell her?
Yeah, they were like, he was like, "I'll pay you more if you do what you do for Jeffrey for me." And she said no, and Jeffrey said, "Wow, I can't believe you said no." And she was like, "Well, who would take care of you?" And that's how she saw herself, as someone that like she just had lost so much self-worth, and she suggested that maybe Jeffrey Epstein was molested as a child and that's why he had this obsession with children. I mean, the fact that she showed empathy and compassion for him, I just think like people imagine her as someone who's out there just trying to name names and tear people down. She didn't name even a quarter of the people she was trafficked to. Um, and I think this book does her justice, and I feel like she finally had her moment, and seeing Prince Andrew pay the price for it, I think she'd be really happy to see that he had to, you know, give up his title.
Let's talk about how they met because she was working at Mar-a-Lago,
Right.
right? Is that how she met Jeffrey Epstein? Can you take us through that?
Right. So she was working at Mar-a-Lago as a spa attendant. Her father worked there as well. He was a landscaper, and she was 16, and Ghislaine Maxwell saw her from the street because she was from the outside of the spa. And she told the houseman to pull over, who was driving her. And this is Juan, who we actually also interviewed too. He confirmed this whole account from his point of view. And he said she was so skinny and pretty, he knew she'd be back at the house. And Ghislaine said, "I can basically make your dreams come true. I can teach you how to be a masseuse. You will be a traveling masseuse." And she said, "Okay, I'll come." She went to the house, and that was where she was sexually abused by both of them. Ghislaine Maxwell was the one who pulled her panties down, and that was where she spent, that was how she was attacked. And she went back, and everyone says, well, why did she go back? That was all she knew. I mean, and they also threatened her and said that they knew where her brother went to school and not to tell anybody what happened in the house. So there were a lot of different levels to this. She was living in a trailer with her friend at the time. This was very much a class issue. They say that when it is a class story, and the women are more vulnerable and the men are wealthier, not they say, a sex crimes expert, former prosecutor in New York, Deborah Turkheimer, said that they suffer a real credibility deficit, and it's harder for them to prove their case, while powerful men have a credibility inflation.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, they go through another form of traumatization, having to tell their story again, and then seeing the world side with those men. Sometimes it can be worse than the abuse itself, when they see the community side with the man, and so, or the abuser. So it's just really hard for a lot of these women, and they tell their stories over and over again. They knock on the doors of justice, banging, banging, banging. They're not open. I mean, even now, Alex Acosta doesn't read the victim statements, but decides that they would have a withering impeachment on the stand from Jeffrey Epstein's lawyers. So he says they're not credible enough, and that's why he gave Epstein a sweetheart deal. You have the state attorneys calling them teen prostitutes, saying there are no victims here. It's just, they were just treated horribly. And I wonder if they were the daughters of the men that they were trafficked to, how this would have went.
Let's go through some of this, shall we? You mentioned her father.
Yeah.
She said trafficking. We talked about that a bit, and fear of becoming a sex slave, right? Someone wanted to pay her more. Can we talk about Prince Andrew? Because, he just lost his title, and then, Fergie in the process lost hers as well. She alleges the first time that she met Prince Andrew at Ghislaine Maxwell's London townhouse. It was in 2001. And he guessed her age. The Duke guessed correctly, 17. My daughters are just a little younger than you, he said. That's a quote from the book. She continues, as usual, Maxwell was quick with a joke. I guess we will have to trade her in soon, she said. That's a quote from Maxwell.
Gross.
I know. She further claims sexual contact. Andrew was particularly attentive to my feet, caressing my toes and licking my arches. It's a quote. Note, Prince Andrew has denied the allegations and has not admitted liability. We're going to have to trade her in soon. What the fuck is that?
Yeah. Well, they really wanted them to look young. And, there's a picture of her at a party with Naomi Campbell, and obviously with Epstein. And she just looks so young. Like, you see all these people at the party, okay? Looking like a girl who looks older. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, hold it. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Oh, I see. Is she in the pink?
She's pink. She's such a little girl.
She looks like a little girl right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Hold it closer? Can you hold it closer to the thing?
Sure. And that's what I felt like.
Down a little. Down.
Look at everyone else around her.
Wow. And
she just doesn't fit in.
Who's with her? Is that, I don't know who that is. Is that?
Hold on, I'll tell you. It was.
Is that the singer?
It was Naomi Campbell's 31st birthday in Saint-Tropez.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Just like, it's just amazing.
The thing about her father that I just want to read this, okay? Because she had what a life.
Yeah.
But she said, let's go back to her father. She says, as a child, I
Yeah.
experienced nearly every kind of abuse: incest, parental neglect, severe corporal punishment, molestation, rape. Okay. She says she described how her father told her to stand up in the bath so he could clean in between her legs. That night in my room, Dad touched me in ways nobody had before. He told me I was his special girl, his favorite, and that this was his way of giving me extra love. Her father, Sky Roberts, denies the abuse. Just to straighten this out, I never abused my daughter and didn't know that. If I had known about that, I would have been very angry and taken care of the situation.
Who? That doesn't make any sense what she said. What he said.
That's what he said that he didn't. He goes, first of all, I guess he's saying, first of all, I never abused my daughter. And I didn't know that. I guess maybe didn't know about the other thing, the Epstein thing. And if I had known, I would have been very angry.
Oh, that he traded daughters with another guy, with another friend. That was the other allegation. Yeah. That they
Yeah.
traded daughters.
Yeah.
I always had a feeling there was an incest part to this.
Well, that's the allegation. He denies it, by the way.
Right. She never said it to me when I was with her, but like she didn't talk to him for many years. She said something about like, oh, his friend. She talked about that often. But incest is very taboo and very few people are willing to talk about it. I'm really proud of her for doing it. And when she died and he went on Piers Morgan and said she was killed, I was so furious because I knew that they had a very strange relationship, that she didn't talk to him, that she hated him. And that I was like, how can he say that? He doesn't know anything. And also I had spoken to her before that and I knew how unwell she was. And her family was literally with her trying to take care of her because she was so unwell. Her brother tried to resuscitate her. The conspiracies around her death are really disgusting. She was unwell. Trauma causes this sort of pain. It lives in you forever. I mean, some people with therapy and help, they can do it. And she really worked hard on that. But
She couldn't overcome it.
I still think that she just lived a life of so much drama. She was living apart from her children. They were her light. They were everything for her. And then her husband was abusive to her. It was just, all of it was terrible.
Let me jump in here and say, because she talked about suicide attempts and mental health struggles. Giuffre reveals that in 2022, she attempted suicide, weighed down by nightmares of abuse and social media smears, as well as a post-COVID hospital stay. She writes, I was weary of defending myself against vicious, hurtful words, liar, sellout, extortionist, drug addict, whore. I was sick of the nightmares. And then she said, and alarmingly, I see now, I wasn't afraid anymore. Instead, I just felt hollowed out. So when my trauma tricked my brain into telling me lies, it would be better for everyone if you weren't here, my brain said. She continued, she said, I believed my brain, so I reached for the painkillers that I had smuggled into the hospital, and I swallowed as many as I could. Her son found her after a second attempt days later.
Yeah, I believe this. She had talked about her mental health issues. I saw it up close when I was with her. At one point, I was like, we shouldn't do this anymore with the reporting because it was too intense. She wanted to keep going, but yeah, it was hard. She had visceral reactions to the locations that we were driving past, like the Palm Beach airport.
Yeah, you told me about that. Didn't she have like a panic attack when you guys drove by?
Yeah, she did. She just wasn't well. It's really hard. What do they say? The body keeps the score. She was like
Yeah.
she had so many kidney issues, which is like around obviously the sex organs. We had to go to the doctor at one point because she was having some sort of kidney issue. She was hard. Her life was hard. I don't know. I know I keep saying the word hard, but I don't know how else to say it. And she tried to be so optimistic and have so much light and be so strong for everyone else. But she neglected herself like so many other victims do of these sorts of, cases. They often neglect themselves in service to everyone else.
Yeah. Um, Tara, hold on one second. Okay. So, Tara, thank you. Look, I know that you have a time issue, so I'm going to let you go. I appreciate you reporting on this. Is there anything else you want to say or about this?
That's okay. Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. I wrote a piece about her too, in the Red Letter, and
I think we have
thanks
that.
for everyone. And yeah, you should read her book. I really think it's important, and I think this is what she would have wanted. Is this sort of she would have wanted uh, her book to live on and to have meaningful impact, and for it to drive lawmakers to see the shame in not voting to release the files and to bring light to all this. Because if their files are released and her files are under redacted, it'll cause earthquakes. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Tara Palmeri, thank you. Thank you so much, my friend. Okay. Tara Palmeri is a
Thank you.
journalist, the author of The Red Letter on Substack, and the host of the Tara Palmeri Show right here on YouTube. Thank you. I'll see you soon. Keep up the
Thanks.
great work. Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.